What's going on, fellas? So, the purpose of this video, it's a few purposes, few reasons. First thing is I want to tell you that if you're in isolation right now, aka the lonely stage, 9 times out of 10 it has a purpose. All right? There's a lot of men today, biggest question I get from most men is, what's my purpose? How do I find my purpose? This is where you find your purpose. Your isolation, the lonely stage. This limbo stage that you feel like you're in, where you're torn between the two. The man you used to be, that low vibration man you used to be, and the man you're becoming. The high frequency man that when you look in the mirror, you see a king. Okay, fellas? You're torn between the two. The other purpose for this video is because I had a lot of men resonate with my previous video where I explained the mindset that you need to have in the lonely stage. All right, fellas, so today, I definitely want you to take notes and pay attention. Obviously, I have a different scenery today. I'm not in the studio with the blackboard. And the reason why is because the lonely stage is something that I definitely resonate with. There's been several times in my life where I've been put in the lonely stage in different transitions and different moments of transformation. All right, fellas, so if you feel alone, if you feel lonely, if you feel isolated, which you probably are, if you feel like you're at a stage in your life where you can't call anybody for help, you can't lean on anybody for support, fellas, I guarantee you this is preparation. This is not delay. All right, fellas, this is divine development. All right, guys, so let's get right into it. So first thing you got to understand is a lot of men feel in this isolation phase, whether it's after a breakup or after you lose a job or after something traumatic happens, a lot of men feel that this is punishment. You know, it's something we like to talk about, which is karmic retribution, karma, which is something that a lot of men that I've experienced and that I've talked to, a lot of men have pretty much diagnosed themselves with karma. You know, now, this is the thing that you have to understand. It's not punishment, it's preparation, okay? Most of the time before you enter limbo, the lonely stage, there were a lot of distractions, a lot of noise, okay? Whether that noise was social media, which is a very popular version of noise today, or whether that noise was people's opinions, people's voices, relationships, money. Okay, noise can be a job. Maybe a job is paying you so much money and you haven't mentally prepared yourself to take that money or receive that money, meaning financial literacy or meaning financial discipline, and that money is actually more of a detriment than a positive asset to your life. This happens a lot. And when that happens, there's a saying. It's a Bible verse, and it's also something that you probably heard a mentor say, or your mom say, or your grandma say, or your OG say, just to keep your temperament good and your nervous system in check. And that is, God will never put on you more than you can bear. So when you get to a point of your life where any of these distractions or any of this noise is bringing you down to a point where you're going to go into a deep hole, G, God ain't going to let that happen. So before that happens, he'll let you get far enough so where you can feel the pain enough to where it's like a child. You know when children get curious and they want to touch the hot stove, and a lot of parents try to stop the kid from touching the stove or being near the stove. They try to avoid the kid getting burned by the stove. But a great lesson for that kid is to actually touch that stove at least just one time so he can understand how hot it is. Okay, let him go all the way to his edge. Don't let it actually burn his skin. Just let him feel the heat. And that's what God does with these distractions, with this trauma. Okay, he's not trying to break you. He's not trying to kill you. This is not karma. This is a place where God has taken you so far as you can go alone. And now he's trying to bring you to a place where you can lean on him and hold his hand. Okay, maybe you don't believe in actual God as far as this mystic being. Maybe you only believe in the universe. Okay, the universe wants alignment. That's how it works. That's how the universe flourishes. The nature you see around me moves in a rhythm and according to the rhythm of the universe. If this tree behind me does not follow the rhythm of the universe, it will not grow to its fullest capacity, nor will it grow these beautiful leaves behind me. Okay, so it's just like yourself. You're just like this tree. If you get out of alignment, out of your natural cadence, G, God is going to bring you back, okay? He's going to let you know through pain, through hurt, through betrayal, through sorrow, through heartbreak. These things, this trauma, That's just symptoms that you are out of alignment. Now you're in a stage where you're healing. What do you heal with? You heal with stillness. You heal with silence. You heal with focusing inward on yourself and understanding that isolation has a purpose. Your isolation has a purpose. And life is about perspective. It's all about how you see it. It's all about how you frame isolation. It's all about how you see the world and how you see yourself. So if you understand that isolation, the lonely stage, is part of your hero's journey, you can digest it much better. So a personal experience that I can give about the lonely stage and what I've learned is that isolation reveals the things that you've been avoiding. Okay, as humans, our brains are wired to take the least past the resistance. So if you get in a fork in the road, and I've used this example many times, if you get in a fork in the road and one side says you can get $10 million, but you might die, it's a 50-50 chance you might die if you take that road. And then the opposite road says you're only going to get $10,000, not 10 million, but 10,000, but it's a 100% chance you'll live. Most people, even though $10 million is worth way more than 10,000, most people would take what? Least past the resistance and go down the route of 100% chance of living and take the 10 grand and make the most of it, right? Now, this doesn't mean cowardice. This just means survival. Okay, so most people live in survival. So most people avoid the things that hurt, like silence. Okay, the reason why silence hurts is because it makes you confront yourself and your demons. The reason why solitary confinement is so brutal. I think it was Osama bin Laden. I think they put him in solitary confinement and he fucking went nuts. Okay, no man is good being alone. And this is not just a verse, a Bible verse, and this is not just a saying. This is real, okay? That's why isolation is temporary. The lonely stage is temporary. It's only for you to recalibrate. So in this recalibration, you have to confront the things that you're avoiding. You have to confront the beast. Something for myself, like I said, my personal experience is I had to confront my anger. I dealt with anger, what we would call anger issues, for a very long time in my life, for the first 25 to 30 years of my life. And there were sources, personal sources that I'm not going to reveal today, but I tell you, when I had to face true silence and true stillness and look at myself in the mirror and not be able to blame anybody, not be able to put my shit on somebody else, it was a revelation. And that revelation brought elevation. All right, G? So you got to understand, man, when you are put in isolation, it is not just for you to be alone and you to be by yourself and you to be taking, salt baths and doing all ice cold plunges and shit, self-care. Yeah, that's great. That's part of it. That's a facet of it. But a lot of it is work, and it's dirty work. And sometimes, G, look, sometimes that shit gonna have your ass crying. It's gonna have you bugging out. It's gonna have you questioning who the fuck you are. It's gonna have you questioning people around you, questioning reality, and that's what it's for. It's recalibration. Recalibration, G, is usually not fun. All right, it's not fun because recalibration means you were calibrated and you fucked up somewhere. So the recalibration is painful. We got to unscrew some shit. We got to go back to the drawing board for this shit. All right, fellas? So that's what the lonely, it's another way you could frame this. This is just going back to the drawing board, going back to the basics, going back to source. All right, fellas? So when it comes to my anger, I don't get mad at shit anymore. I get mad at things, but I never dwell and I never react. Okay, I'm allowed as a human being to have the natural emotion of anger. Okay, fellas, but I don't let it take over me. Why? Because it's just an emotion, a passing, fleeting moment. All right, fellas? So something more strategic and practical is the lonely stage is where you build systems. Okay, you got to think about systems. Like I said, it's not just about being by yourself and self-care and self-love and meditating. Meditating is actually a system. So systems, what are systems? Journaling, reflecting, meditating, being active, taking care of yourself, as far as hygiene and aesthetics, forming yourself to the man you want to be. Okay, it's just like you're creating a character on Madden or on any type of Quest video game. You want to build yourself to the man you want to be. So we're going back to the basics, starting from the ground up. Some of you guys are going into this or already in this with some shit already done. Some of you guys are just 2 yards away from the goal line. Some of you guys are 30 yards. Some of you guys are catching a kickoff return at the 1 yard line and you got to run 100 yards to score. Meaning, some of you guys have most of your shit together already. Maybe you have your money and your relationships together, but your personal emotions and personal convictions aren't in the right place. Or maybe you got your body right and your relationships together, but your money ain't straight. It all depends. So now is the time to say, okay, I got this shit together. I don't have to worry about this. I just have to maintain it and keep elevating in this area. These areas over here that I'm lacking, I gotta find out why am I lacking, because it's not natural for you to not be in abundance. Okay, your abundance is natural. All right, scarcity, lack, that's unnatural. That's a side effect of misalignment. All right, fellas, you have to understand that. So, for example, something that I discuss a lot in my private groups is stretching and breath work. Okay, fellas, so something I do a lot is I stretch my spine a lot. Whenever my emotions are not in check or whenever my body hurts or I'm sore, I come out, I sit in the sun, I sit in the grass just like this, and I stretch my spine. After about 30 to 40 minutes of spine work and breath work and meditation and stillness, I usually feel better physically, emotionally, as well as spiritually. Okay, so what I found out is usually my emotions, as well as body pains or body aches or anything like that, is usually a stem or a side effect from misalignment. All right, G. So you got to understand, most of you guys are not broken. Some of you guys are fucked up, G, to be honest with you. But most of you guys are not broken. You're just misaligned. And the lonely stage is a place where you obviously can find that out, but also get back aligned. So in this stage, you don't just think. You become structure, okay? You get rhythm, you get routines, you get habits, you get rituals, you get non-negotiables. So when you go, remember I said the lonely stage is temporary, it's not permanent. So when you go back out into the world, you have these things set in stone. So if you're in a lonely stage and you're not in a relationship and you're single and you're craving and you want a relationship, first of all, stop craving that shit, okay? Focus on you. But once you get into a relationship, after this isolation phase, you won't bend or break on your routine or on your structure or on your ritual or on the things that built you to the man that you became. Why? Because you've locked those things in while you were by yourself, and you'll be damned. Okay, fellas, it gotta come hell and high water before you get out of that routine and you start folding again. All right, fellas, this is what the lonely stage is for. It's for you to get solid as a rock, but still be able to flow in this world, but get solid as a rock, G. So when you go out into the world, you got your shit together, all right? And you're not lacking anything. And you can build with other people and in other environments from wholeness, not from lack. Because once you're solid and once you're whole, no one can manipulate you. It's almost impossible. All right, guys. Some animals in the wild are solid as shit, and they don't react too much. Okay. Now they may protect themselves in danger, and because some animals are very territorial. If you look at a lion doesn't just react to anything. Okay, fellas, most of you guys know what a lion is, right? A lion just doesn't react to everything. He will hunt and he will protect himself and the people around him. And if he's feeling a little edgy that day, he might attack your ass. But if you just dancing and shit, if you just see a bird just dancing and tweeting and, talking shit, he not coming out of pocket just because the bird getting fresh. He gonna look at the bird, understand his power and his gracefulness, and keep it pushing. And this is what happens after the lonely stage if you treat this right and you treat this sacred. Because you get to a point where you stop chasing and you start attracting the things you want in your life through stillness. This is hard for a lot of people because, like I said, most people can't face themselves. So a great strategy to do is to tell yourself every day in this phase that this is temporary. This is not forever. This is the rebuilding, the rebranding, the recalibration phase. Because once I come out of this is the affirmation. Once I come out of this, I'm going to be powerful. I'm going to be a king. All right. I'm just reforming right now. So the last thing I want to tell you, you guys always know I drop the game for the end. And I'm going to sum up. Basically, I've touched this point a few times. The lonely stage is not for you to just be still. It's for you to build. For you to learn how to build without distractions. Okay, fellas, most men have ambition. You don't lack drive. You don't lack ambition. You don't lack purpose. You don't lack any of this. What you lack is focus. Okay, this is what the lonely stage is for. It teaches you how to focus. Every great person you know, every great superhero, I always talk about Batman. Batman had to go inside the cave. All right, Batman wasn't talking to nobody but Alfred. He had to go inside the cave. There are times when you gotta go inside the cave. If you look at archetypes, Batman had to go inside the cave, and there was Alfred. Iron Man had to go inside the cave, and there was Jarvis. At some point, for you to come out and be that billionaire playboy, or be that Dark Knight, or whatever the fuck you want to be, this is your life, G. This is your life. Whatever you want to be, you can become. But you gotta go into the cocoon, G, until you're able to fly. One of my spiritual animal is a dragonfly. Okay, fellas, and how dragonflies are not born, but how they're transformed is they start off as little tadpole-like creatures, fellas, like little worms almost. All right, and they're underwater. They're transforming underwater, fellas. Okay, fellas, and by the time they grow their wings, they fly up out of the water and they become dragonflies. That's what you are right now in the lonely stage. You're a little tadpole, G. You're a little worm underwater. You don't have your wings yet, but they're forming. You cannot form your wings and fly at the same time. You got to sit still underwater. You're not drowning, G, okay? You're forming, you're rebranding, you're transforming, because once those wings come out, you're going to fly up out of that water. They're going to be glistening, dripping with divine drip. All right, fellas, I guarantee you. And the reason why I can guarantee you this is because I live this shit. All right, fellas, most of you guys, I was in the same position you were in. I was in the same position you in, G, not too long ago. All right, fellas, so this shit coming from the heart. All right, this shit ain't scripted. All right, fellas. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in today, man. Make sure you guys share this video with someone that this will help out, especially a homeboy that this will help out. If you guys like this scenery and these type of videos, man, please drop in the comments and let me know. I will continue to be doing the Blackboard videos for more dialogue and more detailed messages. But when I'm speaking from the soul and from the heart, man, I'm going to give it to you raw like this. All right, upon you guys' requests. So like I said, I appreciate you guys for tuning in today. It's your boy, KD. We out here, baby.